The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you. What's good, everybody? What's happening? I'm the G with a PhD, man. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. This is the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chases. And before I get things started, I want to give a shout out to all of my gorillas, all the members of the Green Gorilla family. I'd like to give a shout out to Barry Little, Ryan Jackson, hiphop.catv, Black Wizard ADOS, Coach DC, The Remedy, Kashif Caldwell, Infamous Chillin', I Am Black Man, John Reads Too Much, Nachecha, Leroy Honeycutt, True King 337, B Hillfire, Force Windu, Michael Cavanis, Urban Nomad, Raphael Brown, Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, The Book of Ronin, Ab Media 83, Damon Harris. This thing's been jumping around on me for some reason. I don't know why. But it's cool. So, Damon Harris, Brian McMurray, Mr. Lou Meth, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Shop Talk Live, The Face, Mr. Heat, David the Man, Afro Analyst, NEU, Ronan Martin, Issa Abdul Zahir, Sir Anthony, Deshaun Nolly, MLR, Charles Rogers, Black Dog, Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, See Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, jumped again. Gold Professor, The Nameless Protagonist, Black Pill Ned Stark, Author Unknown, Odd Collar, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Brian Williams, Kalon Jakala, Sherrod Martin, Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Born Shahi, James Washington, Hostile Adep, Seven Coast Dojo, W Pierre 1, Rogish the Billmonger, I Care, Lady Miss Thing Green, BGS Ivmore, and Marvin Battle Jr. Thank you so much for being members of the Green Gorilla channel and for helping me to improve the quality of the content of the channel. I appreciate it. And also, I want to give a shout out to all of the members of my Patreon page, because oftentimes what I do is I end up forgetting them because I don't really put much content on the Patreon page. Maybe that's something I ought to do as I move forward with my show or whatever the case may be. But I want to give a shout out to Victor A. Coach, Dragon 59, D. Smitty, Supreme Ivmore, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, NEU again, he riding, Mo Mal, William Ruffin, and Asangwa. Thank you so much for being members of the Green Gorilla channel. I appreciate all the support that you provide. I really and truly do. And thank you, Jasper Burns, for your contribution on the Cash App. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. And I thank y'all for all y'all do. I really do, man. Y'all keep me motivated despite setbacks and troubles. You keep me going. So I'd like to issue a round of applause to you all. Thank you so much for all the help that you provide. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And if you are inquiring about how to become a member of the Green Gorilla channel, well, here's how. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man. I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. So every now and then you might hear some profane language or something like that. But again, I want to remind you, the content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. So that's just a little disclaimer. And I promised you I was going to have a discussion about a black girl at an all-white female college. So I'm just going to jump right into that and try to keep the show pared down instead of talking for long, extended periods of time. But it's an article that was written in Madame Noir, and this woman just basically her name is Samantha Hawkins. She shares my family name, Hawkins. But at any rate, she basically wrote an article, and it's entitled "Why I Wish I Never Attended a Liberal Arts Women's College." And the reason why I want to read this is because I want people to be aware of the kind of social influences that feminists employ on all different kinds of levels. And I mean, one could argue the pressure is felt in an extreme way on college campuses. But it all depends on what kind of college it is. Different universities have different missions and different vision statements. But this particular college is an all women's liberal arts college, and so it's very feminist friendly. So just imagine that you're a young girl who grew up in a black family, a traditional black family, even if it's a single parent family, and your mother's a Christian, and you have brothers and you got sisters, and all of a sudden you find yourself in this new world, this new environment, and you're trying to make sense of it, and you're exposed to pressures that you never even knew existed. So that's why I want to read this, because then people can become aware of what kind of social pressure is actually being enacted on black women in these spaces. Okay. So at any rate, she argues why I wish I never attended a liberal arts women's college. And this is just a Getty image. This is not an image of this woman. So just take that with a grain of salt. So, and this article is really short. So I'm going to show it. Then I'm going to take a break. Then I'm going to say some things, invite people to comment if they would like to, and then get up on out of here. But anyway, the article starts off with some decisions in life you never live down. Those decisions can either scare you from ever taking another chance again, or they can teach you to be more cautious the next time you pull the trigger on something. In every mistake made, there's a valuable lesson to be taught. For me, attending a liberal arts women's college in my freshman year was a mistake I'll probably never live down. And then she goes on to say, I was 15 years old when my mother took a wrong turn on the way to a doctor's appointment, and we ended up lost on some nameless street in Decatur, Georgia, on an impromptu scenic drive around a university campus. The buildings were Victorian themed and statuesque. The rolling hills they stood on were perfectly manicured and the richest shade of green. The female students laid happily strewn about the grounds, bustled about with their backpacks, casually sauntered up and down the hills. We finally made our way back to the main road, but before we did, we managed to catch the name of the university, Agnes Scott College. Now, I don't know anything about Agnes Scott College in particular, other than through this woman's through this woman's experience, but I'm vicariously experiencing it through her narrative. Okay. So she says it was 2 years later that I recalled that name as I filled out applications for college. I did my research and learned Agnes Scott was a pretty prestigious private college renowned for its innovative academics and notable alumni who have gone on to make impressive strides in science, business, and politics. It was my first choice. My second choice, which was really my mother's choice, was the modest community college just 10 minutes from my home, the same one my older brother and mother had both attended previously. So she has an older brother. She probably loves her brother intricately and inextricably connected to her brother, probably somebody she looks up to. Okay. And her mother had already gone to this community college. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with a community college. A lot of people like to speak disparagingly about community colleges, But in my viewpoint, if you can get your core curriculum taken care of and accepted at a major university, you can save a lot of money, a shit ton of money, instead of giving all of that money to one of these major universities. So if you got children who are attending college, or if you're thinking about attending college yourself, and you're worried about the name of the university, don't worry about that, man. Just get the core done, and then take up the major coursework at a university of your choice, because it just makes no sense to spend all of these tuition fees, these exorbitant amounts of money to get a college degree. It just doesn't. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, she says that it was 2 years later that I recalled that name as I filled out applications for college, blah, blah, blah. So I read that already. Anyway, she says, I received an acceptance letter from the junior college along with an invitation to enroll in honor courses my first year. About a week later, I received an acceptance email from Agnes Scott College in my Gmail inbox. They offered me a scholarship, but I didn't care about tuition costs and lab fees or how much I might have to borrow in student loan debt. I was in. I would get a private education. I was officially destined for greatness. Now, man, this is what I would say also. If you're going to attend a university, do a campus visit. Find out what that university is like before you actually go there. See what the dorms look like. See what the people are like. See what the professors are like. Ask questions. Go to orientations and things like that. That way you can get a firsthand experience about what you might be dealing with when you go to one of these schools or colleges, or when your children go. It's just necessary to do that. Okay, but whatever the case may be, this woman was entranced by the appearance of this university before she even took a class. I mean, she saw the visual presentation on the internet, but she hadn't had a firsthand experience with the school. And that's a mistake in and of itself. But I don't want to bemoan the girl's experience. So at any rate, she says, at my orientation, I was proud and absolutely honored to be entering this institution with so much history behind it. The highest members of the faculty, including the dean of students and the president herself, welcomed us with such enthusiasm and fanfare as the newest members of this exclusive club, or family rather. So, making her feel proud that she's there, and it's a rich tradition and so on and so forth. And she says, I never realized before then it was possible to feel so much a part of something and yet so isolated at the same time. Looking back now, the best part of orientation was truly my mother and sister being there to celebrate with me. And then she says, I never really fit though. From day one, I felt like a bass flopping about on the floor of a fisherman's boat. For one thing, I was a commuter student, while the abundant majority of students in my class stayed on campus during the semester. Now, I went to school at Xavier University in New Orleans. It's an all black college. So I stayed there on the campus, okay? But it's an all black college. It's not an all female college, not a predominantly white college, all black college for real. So, but I stayed on campus. And one of the things that I can tell you about staying on campus as opposed to being a commuter is that, I mean, you get to know your classmates. You form connections and bonds with people that will last you for the rest of your life. You know, but being a commuter, you really you get to know people here and there, but you're most closely connected with other commuters if you're a commuter, or you're not that intimately connected with those people who are actually staying on campus or staying in dormitories. So that's just something you should know. Anyway, so she says that she was a commuter student. Most of the people who were attending the school stayed on campus. And she says she was also a black girl in a predominantly white school. And on top of that, she was the product of a strict traditionalist Christian upbringing who had been homeschooled all her life. Now, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be homeschooled. I can't even say, what my life would be like if I had been sheltered like that. I mean, she didn't have any other friends other than her family. So I'm pretty sure that, her value system and her orientation towards life was strongly, reinforced by her parent, her mother. Okay, because in this story, she doesn't mention the father. Okay, so for whatever reason, she doesn't mention her daddy. Okay, um, but you can't blame her for that. But whatever. So anyway, she said that she was the product of a strict traditionalist Christian upbringing, entering a hotbed of radical feminism. Within my first week there, I received backlash during a discussion about women's achievements in history when I remarked that African American women were the least recognized for their accomplishments and inventions. Then she says, I clashed a couple of times with another student over her insistence on belittling the intelligence of those who believe in God. So, in other words, okay, so first off, she's realized that she's the only black girl at an all white girls' school. And then, secondly, she has a religious background, a fundamentalist Christian background, whereas the women who are attending this school, many of them are atheists and they're radical feminists. So you're talking about a culture shock, okay? So at any rate, going on, and this article is not all that long, so it won't take me much longer to get through this. She says, when I raised the issue with my academic advisor, she told me it's her right to question things. Maybe you're the one with the closed mind. I was shot down in any debate if I even so much as cited someone who was a male. Now, I don't know what you know about education or about history, philosophy, about science, biology, physics, chemistry, whatever the case may be. I don't know your expertise in those areas, but you'd be hard pressed to have an experience as a student of a discipline without touching upon men and their ideas or touching upon the ideals that were developed by males. So I don't even know how that's possible to go to a college or a university somewhere where you're exposed to ideals and males are absent there. And I understand, look, oftentimes you can go to a school and women's ideas are absent. So I get it though. So, this is the idea of, well, we're trying to right or wrong because men dominate the disciplines or whatever the case may be. But damn, no men at all. You can't make reference to ideas from men at all. It just sounds suspicious to me. But anyway, she says, I realized that my professors were also very unforgiving about me having certain unpopular perspectives about major social issues. I was told to reevaluate my priorities because I wasn't raised to be pro-choice. I was called out in an American history class for not immediately agreeing with the sentiment that Hillary Clinton would make a great US president. I was shushed by an English professor after I wondered aloud if feminism had anything to do with the late American poet Sylvia Plath killing herself after a lifelong history of clinical depression and mental instability. Oh, she was a fish out of water, man. She was challenging these people. She challenged them by citing men. She challenged them by being pro-choice. I mean, not being by being pro-life. She challenged them by being religious. Okay, and she challenged them by challenging the very idea that Hillary Clinton, just because she was a woman, would make a good president. Okay, and she was shushed by an English professor after wondering whether or not some woman who was a self-declared feminist had killed herself because she was depressed because she was a feminist. Oh, she broke all the rules. She broke all the rules. Okay. Um, then she says, there was one political science instructor who consistently marked me down a whole letter grade every time I quoted someone in my in my assignments who was allegedly a misogynist. Now, can you imagine that, man? Like, man, I've graded many papers. I would never mark someone's paper down a grade because they cited someone that I didn't like. I just wouldn't do that. That's not objective. It's not impartial. and it doesn't speak to the student's skills. Now, what I'm worried about is whether or not they're able to interpolate the arguments of the person who they're quoting in a way that fits in with the thesis of the paper that they're writing. And I've even given A's to students who have viewpoints that are the exact diametrical opposite of my own. As long as they're able to make a rational argument and it's consistent and it's valid, I don't have a problem with it. All I'm looking for is mastery of the subject. I can't force somebody's opinion one way or the other. All I can do is just be persuasive as I possibly can and let the students know, look, I have partial interest. I'm not absolutely objective here. There are things that I declare, things that I believe myself. But I'm going to let them know ahead of time, here are my commitments. You don't have to agree with them. I'm not going to try to ram them down your throat. But it seems like she had the opposite experience here. Anyway, she said, I soon found myself struggling in my statistics and chemistry lecture classes that year, but I hesitated to seek help from the tutoring center. Tutors were juniors and seniors who sometimes doubled as teaching assistants in freshman classes. So on more than one occasion, I walked into the tutoring center and was met with intense glares and whispered, snarky commentary. It was most certainly recognized, I'm sorry. I was most certainly recognized as that black chick who asked too many questions. And she was. She was. Now, the question is, this girl is wondering whether or not her viewpoints, her religious ideals or religious commitments, and, just her general worldview was the problem, or whether or not her race was the problem. And trying to decipher through all of this when you're being pressured socially, it's hard to overcome. It's hard to deal with. They was trying to turn this girl into one of them. And that's what educational institutions do to begin with. They try to stamp and impress upon you their value system, one way or the other. Some institutions more than others, but it seems like this institution was deep into indoctrination. But anyway, she was the black chick who asked too many questions. The condescension would be so thick you could cut it with a fork and a steak knife. Ironically, at a women's college that touted self-realization and the freedom to question things and make waves, I was forever being boxed in, criticized for not going with the flow, and punished for my different opinions. And look, I can tell you right now, if people hold an ideology or they hold a certain set of opinions and they consider themselves to be in the know, to be knowledgeable about a matter, to be wise about a subject, oftentimes they're going to try to persuade other people to adopt their viewpoint. That's just how the game goes. Okay? Peer pressure is something else, man. And you get a group of people together and you got somebody thinking independently or thinking out of the box, they're going to try to draw you back into the box. This is why a lot of radical thinkers get killed or they get threatened to, with death. I'm just thinking about like Socrates. I'm thinking about Aristotle. I'm thinking about Buddha. I'm thinking about Jesus Christ. I mean, just figures, not that they're all real, but you get the picture, okay? So anyway, she was forever being boxed in, criticized for not going with the flow, and punished for her different opinions. Anyway, she says, my third meeting with my advisor was very much involuntary. So she had another meeting. She kept getting called in to have meetings with her advisor. But this one was involuntary. It mostly consisted of her telling me that I was showing signs of neglect in certain classes and that she was worried that something in my personal life might have been contributing to my failing academic performance. I wondered if I was really failing her expectations at all. Perhaps I was just confirming that I didn't belong there anyway. Anyway, so it wasn't just the politics of it all. Thank you, Sir Donald Watts. I appreciate you for that very generous donation. Thank you, sir. So she says that it wasn't just the politics of it all, it was also the rampant sexual activity. Now, dig this girl is raised in a fundamentalist Christian household. She's being pressured to adopt to a different way of life. She's encountering different viewpoints, and they really perceive her as regressive. They perceive her as a threat to their worldview. So they're trying to rein her in, to box her in. They're trying to constrain her viewpoints. Hold on for 1 second. I gotta take this. Is my cousin. Cuzzo, what's good, cuz?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy birthday, and all that shit too.
What's up, cuz? I'm doing a show right now, but I had to answer the phone because you my favorite motherfucking cousin. You know what I'm saying? Well, I love you, cuz. For sure. I love you, cuz. I'll holler at you.
All right, love you back, man.
Peace.
All right.
Peace. Yeah, that's my cuz. I had to answer for her. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me. That's my nigga. If she don't get no bigger, I fucks with her. But anyway, she says that it wasn't just the politics of it all. It was also the rampant sexual activity. Before class, girls chatted about hookups with guys off campus. After class, they chatted about weekend hangs where they can meet guys to hook up with, while other girls experimented with each other's in the dorms. So they getting down at this motherfucker. They getting down at St. Agnes College or Agnes College. They getting down. You know what I'm saying? They getting it in. They're experimenting with their sexuality. Okay. And so they're not just hooking up with girls, but they're hooking up with guys as well. They're doing it all. Okay. So she says, I recall one time my mother and sister came down to have lunch with me in the garden outside of my school's library. So her mom and her sister came to the campus to kick it with her, like let's see what's going on up at this school, right? And by the time she met up with them, they were both still stunned and wide-eyed, having encountered two female students making out passionately on one of the walking paths. Now, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the white women on the campus probably were like, who are these black women anyway? And why are they looking at us wide-eyed? They're probably exhibiting homophobia, according to them. That's probably how they would perceive it. Okay. Then she says, my mother was surprised to learn that this had become the norm for me. Most of the seniors had girlfriends on campus and boyfriends to go back home to. Wait a minute, man. Look. Hey, man, I got to drop a bomb on that shit right there, man. Nah, I hit the wrong button. Let me read that again. Most of the seniors had girlfriends on campus and boyfriends to go back home to. According to them, they weren't lesbian or bisexual. They were just too sexually liberated to be restricted to monogamous relationships. I bet you they ain't tell their boyfriends that shit. Look, I'm just being ignorant. But anyway, she says, I didn't judge them for their risque ways, although it surprised me. But they certainly judged me for not partaking in the conversations about their sexual escapades. In other words, they want to share the sordid details about what they were doing sexually with women and with other guys. And she was like, I ain't trying to hear all that shit. And I don't blame her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, to this day, man, like, if you fucking somebody, man, okay, that's cool. I don't need to hear all that, though, dog. You know what I'm saying? Get it in how you get it in. But, I don't need to hear how you hitting it left or right or up, down. So what, dude? You know what I'm saying? It's a natural act between a man and a woman. You ain't got to go into details with that shit. Get it how you live, man. Enjoy yourself. But anyway, they judged her for not partaking in the conversations because that's a way to build rapport with a person and to get them to accept or to buy into your lifestyle. So she was like, I ain't trying to hear all that. Anyway, she says, I wasn't the frustrated virgin dying to lose it. Well, I guess she was doing some things. I wasn't the church girl desperate to shed her promise ring. That made me an anomaly in their book and an outsider. So I mean, many of these white girls, man, probably came from two-parent homes, and or maybe not, who knows? But many of them probably did. They had boyfriends and girlfriends. They probably were, reined in. You know how it goes. To get to the college campus and get loose. I done seen it a hundred times. I've seen it 100 times. Anyway, she says, I finished my freshman semester off with a pretty bleak looking transcript. I took a year off and wound up enrolling in online classes at a less expensive public HBCU. I excelled in my courses and grew confident enough in myself to actually want to continue my learning. It would take me more than 8 years, along with several college major changes, but I would finally earn my bachelor's degree. My terrible experience at a private women's college certainly isn't the standard. For others, it has been a fulfilling journey of self discovery. Unfortunately, I have nothing to show for my experience except a badly bruised ego, a final transcript of B's and D's, and an impressive grudge I've developed against privileged white feminists. Now, notice how she doesn't say anything about black feminists at all. And look, all I'm trying to say is, man, let me just say this and get it out of the way. People can believe whatever they want to believe. I've taught all kind of students, and I've allowed feminists to speak in my courses as well as right wing conservatives. I allow anybody to speak. I've had transgender persons in my class who got A's. You know what I'm saying? Because they did the work. So I allow anybody to say what they have to say. Okay, but I mean, if we're going to get technical and academic here, I mean, my opinion is black feminism isn't all that different from radical second wave feminism. It's just not. The talking points are exactly the same, except for all they do is introduce the dynamic of race. That's the only thing that's added to it. I mean, that's just been my experience. So there's nothing radically different about their approach towards men, males, the idea of patriarchy or male dominance. Those ideas are pretty much the same. The only thing they do is add in race. Okay. So anyway, she basically says, I wasn't empowered or inspired to achieve my own greatness or encouraged to pave my own path. I was ridiculed for forging my own way and having my own thoughts. As a young black woman, no one, not my classmates or my professors, stepped out of their comfort zone long enough to acknowledge my culture or my ethnic identity as part of their discussions. Huh. No big surprise there. Because to be quite honest, at the university, most of the professors are white, man. This is just how this game goes. Predominantly white. And you're talking about a group of people who are, from privileged backgrounds. Most of these people, I mean, to be quite honest, they come from upper middle class families. Families who have endowments and families, not all of them though. There are some people who are from like middle class or lower middle class, but for the most part, predominantly, man, these people are well off. And a lot of them are nerds like a motherfucker. I'm talking about straight geeks, awkward socially and everything else. And it's especially the case when it comes to philosophy. I'm just gonna put it out there. Okay. So anyway, she says, as a young black woman, no one stepped out of their comfort zone long enough to acknowledge my culture or my ethnic identity as part of their discussions. I will teach my future black daughter. I mean, well, shit. How you know you're gonna have a daughter? But anyway, I will teach my future black daughter that they don't need a private higher education to affirm that they are smart, brilliant, and destined for greatness. I will also teach them that there are more important factors to consider in picking a college than its name or reputation. The right college won't try to remake or rebrand them. The right college will accept them for who they are as an individual. Okay, that's the end of that. And let me transition into something different than this. All right, so the question is, okay, well, like, why read that? Why even go through, that exercise? Like, why would I even go through that? Well, I'm just trying to illustrate the kind of social pressure that's placed upon black women as they enter into these educational institutions. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and look, Black to the Film says, "What's the difference between private and public university? The price of one credit, laughing my ass off." And that's true to a certain extent. Especially if you go to a school at in the state where you reside, so there's a discount there, and you might get scholarships or you might get grants or something like that. But I mean, ultimately, these institutions place an extreme amount of pressure on these girls, man. And all I'm trying to do is articulate to you guys, man, that having conversations with them and arguing back and forth with them, man, when like they're professors or putting pressure on them like that, how do you combat against that? How do you have conversations with people who are being indoctrinated into worldviews in their formative years and their grades, their future professional careers are predicated upon it? And this has been going on for the past 60 years. It's just a question. And and look, I'm just going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. So there's two institutions or two departments or programs. Oftentimes they don't even have their own departments. A program is something different than a department, but because a department confers a degree, a program confers a certificate. Okay. Um, Typically, a department has a chair, a program has a coordinator. A department has a full professor and a team of associate and assistant professors, whereas a program might only have a few professors and they might even be in different departments. Okay. But there are two main departments on college campuses where alternative narratives about history, about gender and sexuality take place. You got Africana or African American studies, and then you have women and gender studies departments. That's just the way it goes, man. And oftentimes, these universities hire people to operate or to teach or to do research in these departments because it's their way of fulfilling the demands of justice. Okay? Um, but these departments are severely they're underfunded and they're not perceived as essential to the core of what the university does and what the university is about. I'm just, you know, I'm just saying. This is just how it goes. And they're the least paid or among the least paid. Um, so these programs and these departments are tolerated. But still, there's a lot of power that exists within the domain of these kinds of departments. Now, I know for a fact that the first African American studies programs were started by students who were, for the most part, I mean, if I had to use any term to define or to describe these kids, um, they were like black nationalist kids. They were like Black Panther, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud kids. And they were demanding that they have a place where they could study their own history, right? But increasingly, African American studies departments became of a different kind. They became more liberal. They became more less Afrocentric and more yeah, liberal is the best way to describe it. And they became less centered around the notion of black solidarity and became more centered around the idea of black inclusiveness to the overall white society. So they started off as these like radical places where it was about black unity, and increasingly they became places where the ultimate goal was to attain racial eliminativism. Okay, now I mean something similar could be said about women and gender studies departments. I mean, initially they started out as these radical places, and I don't necessarily agree with the ideology behind them, but at least they were radical, and it wasn't so much about careerism as it was about what they considered to be, equality. But now this shit is taking on a whole different kind of a tenor. It's primarily about jobs, resources, and how can you garner them for your group. Okay, so I don't know, man. I enjoyed my collegiate experience. I didn't enjoy graduate school though, but later on I did. But I know what it feels like to be the only black person in a program, and you're competing with people, or you're having conversations with people who are condescending and who oftentimes are older than you are. Like I went straight from college to graduate school, and then I dropped out. Man, I was like, "Fuck this shit. I don't feel like dealing with these people, man. They are weird as hell, you know." And I got caught up in some drama. I'm from the hood. I'm from North Side St. Louis, Katsu Fairground Block, place where cats get shot and killed. People deal dope. You know what I'm saying? And it's fiends and dealers, crackheads and cons, baseheads and dons. It is what it is. So, it was difficult to fit in. But whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve. So, I did what I did. But I read this because I wanted to demonstrate to people what's going on in these places. What's going on in these spaces. And I went to school at Xavier University, New Orleans, Louisiana. NOLA, baby. What you know about that little daddy? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I went to school. I went to school at Xavier University, man. It was awesome, man. My experience, my undergraduate collegiate experience was the shit. It was the shit. That's all I can say, man. I mean, you know, uh, I met people from California, Houston, Chicago, but I've been going back and forth from New Orleans all my life, so um, it was nothing for me. I had friends there already, and I had cousins there already. I had family in New Orleans already, and I know I got family in Chicago too, so I got family from Chicago already, so I already knew about Shy. I never been to Houston before then, but California, New York, Philly, Atlanta. I mean, just black people from all over. Some black people who got money and their parents are pharmacists and doctors and shit. And then you got some, kids that are going there and their parents, man, just struggling to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was like you could feel the love back then. I mean, there were tensions between men and women, but nothing like now, man. Like it's a whole different vibe. But it was love, man. We kicked it and had fun like a motherfucker, man. Like, I mean, nothing I ever experienced before. But like, the college experience is different now. Maybe not for the kids that are going there now, but to me, it was just dope as hell. And I stayed on campus, and I was a DJ. I've had all my equipment in my room, the two 1200 Technique turntables with the Newmark mixer, 7-8 crates of records, man. I mean, it was just dope as hell. But imagine, going to an all white institution. Imagine that, man. You're going to an all white institution and they're trying to proselytize to you. They're trying to reinforce their worldview and impress it upon you. Imagine what that experience is like. So I'm just trying to give an account for what kind of inertia, what kind of power exists out there to shape these young minds, and why you're dealing with this mindset now from a whole host of women from a whole bunch of different experiences. It's going mainstream. And, it's about time to push back against it to some degree. And not venomously or viciously. It's just this shit the conversations need to be had. That's all. And they need to be had at a graduated level. And they've been kicked down the road too long, like a can. It's time to have these crucial and relevant conversations that these people have been avoiding for a long time. And I'm here to be a catalyst to make those conversations occur. That's just me. So, not being venomous, not being evil, not being hateful or spiteful, but it's time for the conversations to be had. That's my goal. That's my view. That's what I desire. Okay? And don't get it twisted, man. Like, ultimately, what I did was not too long ago, I laid out my metaphysical position so that people can understand where I'm coming from politically, because I don't think you can really talk about politics without talking about metaphysics. Thank you, Sean Perry, and thank you, The Sage's Apprentice. Thank you, Dig Thug. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, Donald Watts, for becoming a new member of the Green Gorilla channel. And thank you, Barry Little, D-Rock Den. And there's another brother who hit me up. I can't see it right now. But thank all of y'all, man. I want to thank all of y'all for your kind contributions this afternoon. But I mean, ultimately, all I'm trying to do is kickstart a conversation that I think needed to be had a long time ago. And I want to be the catalyst for making that conversation come to fruition. That's what I desire. And, I'm not malicious. I'm not hateful. I'm not spiteful. Some of the shit that I've been through, has, made me a little salty. But, some of the things that I hear, from feminists and from, women's activists, especially being a black man in the United States, they kind of rub me the wrong way, especially with some of the things that I've been through in my interactions with women in my life. Now, like, my cousin just called me. I don't know if I said a name on the phone. I probably shouldn't if I did, but that's my nigga. And that's my cousin. And she a girl, man. That's my nigga. And I got many women friends, a whole bunch of them. This cool as a fan. But I feel like I can talk to them openly about what I think. I don't play games with my friends, man, or my family. I'm gonna let them know where my head is, and they respect that about me. Because they know at least if I'm going to say something, I'm going to have an argument to back it up. It just won't be a whole bunch of venom and hate and viciousness, But, I am vulgar, so they know that about me too. But shit, I help them with their work, So it is what it is. But, I'm kind of digressing from the main point. But ultimately, how do you resist against that kind of pressure? And now it's even bigger than what it was in the past. So now it's not just at the university, it's in television shows, it's in movies. It is what it is. And I studied it. I took 3 graduate seminars in feminist philosophy. So I know what it is. And can men be misogynist? Yes, they can. Can men be sexist? Yes, they can. But we talking about black men. Black men don't have the power to force black women to do a fucking thing, man. One way or the other. That's all we saying. So that's something to keep in mind too, man. It's like asking if black people can be racist. we can hate white people, but I mean, the question is, like, what the fuck can we do about it? I might disrespect. I might have like the most venom in the world for a white guy, but what can I do with that venom? Can I prevent him from getting a loan? Can I get him arrested? Can I prevent him from getting an education? Can I designate them to a specific kind of neighborhood where there are food deserts and liquor stores and all kind of other crazy shit going on? I don't have the power to do that. I just don't. And most black men don't have the power to do that. So we got to begin to change these narratives. We got to push back. And that's all I'm trying to do. No venom, just reality. It might seem like venom precisely because nobody's saying it at the graduated level. Most men are still tight-lipped. They don't want to say nothing because they say something, then, whew, might get fired. But you got men out there like Curry, Dr. Johnson, Ronald Neal, Travis. You got people who are professionals like Dennis Sperling. They'll talk about it. They'll say something. You better value these people because there's hardly anyone in these spaces saying anything at all. Period. At all. Nothing. At all. But they will close the door and tell you have a conversation with you behind a closed door. Anyway, man, I'm gonna take a break, man. I'm gonna come right back. If y'all want to have a conversation, you can. But I said I wasn't gonna be doing this long all night, man. So y'all want to have a conversation, you can, man. If you don't, I'm out this thing, man. But I'm leaving the the invite in the chat. I'll be right back, man. I'm gonna take a quick little brizzate. I'll be right, Bizat. All right, I'm trying to get something straight right here. You got to deal with me for 1 second, man, while I try to get this shit worked out. But for some reason, it won't allow me to go where I'm trying to go. So I might have to. Man, I'm fucking with OBS, man, and I neglected to take care of this business before I start fucking with it. And for some reason, here it is right here.
We started off as an academic argument.
Let me stop this shit and start it over. Okay, so I was trying to get that straight. So let me get that straight. My bad, man. And it's glitching and shit. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it, man. Anyway, man, what I'm trying to do is trying to show this little jump off I got for the white people or black people, man. So let me show that right quick, because I'm doing this Indiegogo campaign, so that's what I wanted to do. So let me show the damn trailer right quick, and then I'll get to the men that are on the panel.
I told you to do Biden. Now we done lost a damn vote. We done lost a vote. That's gonna go to Trump. God damn!
I mean, when you mention black people, you mentioning black women. So don't count yourself out.
No,
Yes, you
that's
are.
not true.
Reason I ain't seen. There we go. I'm back in the cut right now. I'm the G with a PhD. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. If you haven't already, go check out the Indiegogo uh, campaign, The White People or Black People. It's a documentary that trying to get funded in order to talk about some of the issues relevant to black men's lives. And it's not just dealing with the subject matter of black women, it's dealing with a whole host of issues, right? But I put that out there with those images because they're visceral for one. And it kind of speaks to how members of the black community are beginning to say that, like, we're imitating white men. And I just don't see it. I don't know any of my friends who are trying to be white men. I mean, they're trying to be successful. But does that mean that, in virtue of the fact that you're trying to be successful, that they're trying to be white men? I just don't, it doesn't compute. All right. So I want to introduce Vanguard, Black to the Film, and Pharaoh to the stream. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
How goes it?
Hey, what's going on?
What it do, OG?
What's up, man?
Hey, Green Gorilla.
What's up? What's up with y'all gentlemen this evening, man? How y'all, man?
Man, just got done driving. I'm not far from St. Louis neither.
Oh yeah, where you at, bro?
Forestdale, Missouri. You know the TA on I-70.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm parked right here.
Damn, boy, you all up in there, huh? You from Missouri
Yeah.
or you from a different place?
Nah, I'm actually from the place that you're talking about, the college. I came up here to tell a story. I'm from Atlanta.
Okay. Well, no, okay, yeah, Agnes College. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Decatur, Georgia. It's like 10 minutes like east side of Atlanta.
Man, tell us about that place, man.
Well, pretty much from what she's saying, I wouldn't even be surprised if I even know her because I've dated a few women that was from there. My ex from when I was driving for JB Hunt attended the college. So how it is that one, they don't have individual bathrooms. Like each of the the rooms, they all share a restroom that's like in the hallway. It's almost as if it's like a YMCA, but it's just for women. So I was sitting over hearing a story from my ex. She was like, yeah, we can't have dudes that's in the college. Like, if you're going to come, you have to spend the night and leave like around 5 or 6 in the morning on some Section 8 type shit. So I'm like, okay. And she was like, sometimes they get it in the shower and they would mess around and get so dirty that they'll leave the condoms like in the shower room.
What?
And nobody don't even, they'll leave condoms after they get done, smashing it out, leave the condoms right there in the shower room, and nobody will pick it up for days, almost weeks, until the janitor came and got and cleaned up the restroom. So when she's talking about the heatedness that goes in that college, I definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's I ain't gonna say that people wasn't getting it in at the school I was in either, man.
Right.
But we had showers and stuff like that as well, but my sophomore year I moved off of campus, man, and I moved in with 2 juniors in my sophomore year, and some real cool dudes. One of them was from Atlanta, the other one was from Birmingham, Alabama. Just cool ass dudes, man. To this day, they just cool dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? Just players, man. Like this shit is different nowadays, man. Like I don't know how to explain it, man. But like I just went to school with a bunch of cool motherfuckers, man. you know.
Right.
And we got
Right.
it in. We did, we drank, we smoked, we did all the kind of shit you wasn't supposed to do. We did it, man. We had sex with girls, man. Just
Hmm.
in and out, man. I mean, you know
Right.
how it is,
Right.
man. It's just, you're young. You experiencing life for the first time apart from your parents. So, we did some, whatever we did, but we're all right, man. We ain't go crazy, but the pressure nowadays, like it was like Xavier University is a Catholic, historically black college and university, and
Hmm.
the girls had their own dorms, and but like if you live off campus, man, anything goes. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no girls staying in no campus and no dorms at this university, man. No, but get off campus, man. Do what you want. You know,
Right.
but that's nasty right there. Like condoms and shit that's nasty.
Yes, bruh. When she was telling me that, and matter of fact, because like I said, they don't have individual restrooms. When she told me that, I kind of really didn't even want to use the restroom. I was like, man, if I have to, I'll take a leak on the side of a building or something like. But yeah, they definitely gets it in, and it's just the whole thing. It's more, and it was more. And I told her, I said you was more likely to go to Spelman, but come to find out, they said Spelman was just more expensive as adding Scott. So I was like, oh, okay.
Right, right.
So
Well, hey,
mm,
Vanguard, Black to the Film. Y'all got any comments to make?
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, when she talked about the tutoring thing, I could attest to that. I had the same problem, bro. I had to and it really fucked me up because I realized since nobody was gonna help me, I just had to drop down to remedials. That was my solution. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But you
right,
do, but you do walk into that mug and they look at you like, nah, we're not gonna help you. And I just deduced that really, because you know how it is, right, Gigi? Some of the things be just hookup places in disguises, right? So for
right,
me, I see all these white dudes in the tutoring, they're just trying to meet abroad. You know what I'm saying? They
right,
not
right,
trying to help no black man. They really in there trying to meet abroad. Because in my school, you had to qualify. You got to have a certain GPA and be doing well in what you're tutoring. You know, you can't
right,
just say you want to be a tutor. But I realized real quick, these dudes just trying to meet abroad. They're not really helping. Not, I don't like passive aggressive anything, especially white people. They're dangerous. So I just, my solution was just to say, fuck it. I'll just go do the remedials because this ain't gonna work. I rather just do the remedials instead of taking a D that's gonna be on my record permanently or even an F. So
right,
that's what I did. But she's actually right. It is because of her race. That's how they do it. If you can get a black study group going, but it depends, like what school you went to. I don't know if she went to a HBCU, but when I went to the HBCU, it was easy to get a black study group going. At the what I call the integrated universities, it's very difficult because as I was talking to one of the cats in the chat, the people that make it at integrated universities, in my opinion, have always been what we call the code switchers. Those people that can get on that real white person vibe. Like they just you know what I'm saying though, right? You know what I'm saying? They
Hey,
can get on
man.
that
Hey, look, I get it, bro. I
they
get
can
it.
get on that vibe. If you can't do that, if you can't really get on that vibe where they believe like they can talk trash about your kind and you're gonna be like, that's right. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It's just
I
not
don't
it's just
condone
not
that
gonna
bullshit.
work. It's
No, I
just
don't.
not gonna work.
Well, I'll tell you this though. So I ain't gonna say what university I went to graduate school at yet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
eventually I will. But
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you get
but
that.
so I had to take some courses for whatever reason, man. They wouldn't allow my credits in logic to matriculate to the graduate school. So I guess they wanted me to take logic again, and they made me take a course called modern philosophy. So modern philosophy starts with Descartes. They go over Kant, Hume. They go over fucking Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. I don't know if you know these guys, but they're standard modern philosophers. All right, so they got
Mm-hmm.
moral philosophy, political philosophy, epistemology. Epistemology and some other shit. So I had to learn all that, and it was white guys in the class, and I was like, look, let me make an announcement. look, I'm doing the study group, man. Y'all want to study, we can do it. If you don't, good. But if you want to, we can. You know, and so we got to study. I was studying with the white boys, but you know, I pretty much knew more than they did because I was a philosophy major as an undergraduate. So, you know, they kind of took my word for some shit. But my whole thing is, man, look, you ain't going to studying in groups is the best way to study, man. Bottom line, because if you don't know some shit, that person next to you probably does. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not the one to, you know, kind of, I don't cheat, you know, when it comes to academics. Though you know, I ain't gonna say I never have now. You know what I'm saying? I was in grade school, in high school, I was cheating like a motherfucker. Like, let me see that paper, dog. I ain't do this homework last night. Let me get that.
Well, I think the recent college scandal, right? It really proves what was kind of like whispered for the last 30 years in academia, as far as like black people don't belong there, this, that, reasons why they here, intellectually stymied, you know. And then we realize, because, you know, people don't realize the real story about that college ring. That college ring, that college scandal was not just like a couple of months or a couple of years. The dude was doing it for like a decade, if not more, and he only got caught in a bad investment scheme. He got into some bad investments. It was actually a SEC investment. The story is really long, but real quick, it was just a bad SEC investment. They snatched him up. They was going to hit him with that 50, and he was like, no, I know something better. And they was like, what? And that's when he just told them about buying your kid into a college, you know. And that's how they figured it out. But it was really like going on for like 20 years, a couple like maybe at least 10 years. I think it really went back to 25 years. So but you know in reality it's probably been going on forever.
Oh man, hell yeah,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? So cheating. The point I was just gonna make was that I think where black people fail is we go into college and we really believe the honor code, right? And these motherfuckers is in there cheating. That's how they get through.
Let me tell you this, bro.
That's how they get through.
Professors, man, like sometimes if the professor really actually gives a shit, they'll change the tests up. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep switching exams or they'll bring new information on the exams. But like these kids are in fraternities and sororities and shit. They know the professor from the past. They be like, they give each other papers, man. It's been many occasions, man. I remember one time, okay, I'm teaching at the institution where I got my graduate degree, okay? So I'm teaching the course, man. It was an ethics course, right? So I'm looking at these papers. I'm like, because they got software, man, to tell you, like, okay, has this shit been submitted before? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at the shit. I'm like, hold on, man.
Plagiarism.
I'm like, man, it's about 8 or 9 of these motherfuckers, man, that had basically plagiarized their papers. And like, I read all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not skimming over the shit. You can get to the point where you feel like, fuck this shit, man. You know, but I don't do it. I'm like, okay, let me read through every line, every page, because they put work into this if they did it, you know. But anyway, man, so I took, man, you know how you have classes inside or outside. So this day I decided to take them outside. I'm like, okay, let's go outside. Y'all want to go outside? Yeah, let's go outside. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we're going outside. Okay. So we go outside. And I told him, I said, you know what, man? I was born at night, but I wasn't born last motherfucking night. This some bullshit. You motherfuckers are cheating.
Yeah.
I told him just like that. Like I do a disclaimer before the courses, man. I tell them, I say, look, if you have any, adverse reactions to me being profane, every now and then saying shit, ass, bitch, whatever, let me know now, and I will never say it. You know what I'm saying? If one student objects, I will never use profanity in the course.
Yeah.
But if any of you have any reservations, please say it now. And most oftentimes they won't say anything. So I'll be like, okay, that shit is out the way then. Let's get down to business. And they love that shit. You know, even the white kids love it for some reason. But, because I'm like, I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm like coming like, okay, here, this is me. Now I'm going to teach you this shit. But I'm gonna teach it to you my way. I'm gonna try to get you to understand and learn it the way I know it and the way I talk and the way I speak. I'm not about to code switch on you motherfuckers, even though sometimes I use big words and shit. But I'm not changing my tonal inflections or none of that, man. I'm not about to become a white guy, man. You know, and that's just not what I'm about to do. But anyway, so I told him I went off on the motherfucker. I was like, man, that's some bullshit. Y'all trying to con a con man. How the fuck you gonna con me? Like, do you know my history, motherfucker? I'm like, man, I told him, I said, you know what? I say, look, okay. I say, you got two choices. Either y'all get this shit straight, or I'm about to flunk a whole bunch of motherfuckers. I mean, give them F's for the whole course. So I'm about to walk away. I'm going to be gone for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. When I come back, you better come up with the solution to what the fuck is going down from all this cheating. So I walked away. I gave him about 2 minutes. I came back. I say, what's the solution? Well, those who cheated are going to write all their papers again from scratch. And it'll never happen again. Oh, thank you so much, Brother Hillfire, for that generous contribution. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Honest to you, bro. Put that on the screen. But so I'm like, man, I'm not a man. And then they came back, they came correct after that. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have any more problems with any other subsequent classes after that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, come on, man. Y'all can't. This is what you're supposed to be fucking learning, man. You can't get through this shit like that. I mean, you know, but I understand the temptation, though. You know, I get it, you know, but by the time I became an undergraduate student, man, I was like, man, I'm not cheating, dude. I'm paying for this shit. Ain't no way I'm about to cheat myself out of information because I'm trying to take the easy street. Fuck all that, man. I'm about to get this in. So, but yeah, man, like the schools, man, you know, these white institutions, man, they got it made, bro, man. Like father's been to school, mother's been to school, granddaddy done been to school. So they already, half of these motherfuckers, man, donating to the school, big money.
Yeah,
you know
they did.
So, but you know, black families are a little bit different, man. Like we struggle, man, because we don't have any wealth. And so, I mean, some of these families, though, like some of these black kids, man, they went to Xavier, though. I mean, them kids had some bread, man. They, you know, like I didn't have a car, man, when I went to college. So, you know, like these motherfuckers got brand new Ford Explorers.
Jack and Jill kids.
With the boom in the trunk. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, they was my partners, though. I'm like, shit, where we going, nigga? Where we going?
Bucket children of Buckies. But yeah, but you know, that's the thing too. You know, I think when I went to university, and it was like in the late 90s, not to give away my age, but when I went to university, I think, like, I'll tell you about my mom. Like my mom, she was the first in our family to get a degree and a master's, because my dad fucked around with the military, so he wasn't doing all that. Like Vietnam fucked up his collegiate career, but my mom got her master's and her BA got a BA from St. John. She got a master's from Adelphi, so she was the first one in our family. So by the time I get to university, mom's is like in her 50s, so I really wasn't, you know, tripping. But when I went there, it was just like a lot of kids that were like, they were going to be the first ones, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then when you meet the white children, they talking about their great grandpappy went there, you know, he was in this frat. They showing you pictures of him from the 30s where it was like white water fountains and black water fountains.
Yeah.
And you're at the same university, and this is like thousands and thousands. Like to white kids, they could never imagine going home and telling their parents, "I dropped out of college, mom and dad." That's not even in there.
No, they going, man. A lot of these kids, man, going to college, man, to find husbands, wives, man. And you know, they already gonna be good in their careers. They have networks, man, to get the jobs.
Yeah,
they got the networks already. So, like I already told you, man, it's a fact. A white guy, man, who drops out of high school, man, has a better likelihood of having wealth than a black person, a black male specifically, who went to college, man. It's just a fact. And you know, we can talk about this honor code and all this shit all we want to, man, but you know, it's just that they have the networks and we don't have those networks, man. That's how people are successful. Networks.
Yeah.
And look, all this shit about how you did in college, what your scores were, what you did on the
GPA.
ACT, SAT, all that shit, that might get you in. But you know, these people are already in anyway. They ain't worried about what the fuck they gonna do for a living. They ain't worried about that, man.
But I was gonna say real quick, like that's the other thing that they don't tell black people too, right? So you like busting your hump, you get all that, you know, you get your GPA out, you graduate, you get a little bit of honors, maybe, you know, they put the little scarf on you, whatever. Then you go for that job, and the first thing they ask you is, "You have any experience?" You know, you're like, "But I have a degree." They're like, "Well, come back when you get some experience." But with the white kids, they either, like you said, they have that network. Nobody explains to us the part about when you're a junior trying to get those externships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Trying to get something in your field for at least a year before you graduate so that you can get past that gate. You know what I mean? And then obviously they just keep throwing the gates at you. GPA, Ivy League, experience, who you know, what civic organizations. It's just so many gates. And I remember when I was like when I first went into the corporate world, I remember a lot of black females was learning that shit the hard way, that they just wasn't connected to get the job. They had the degree, but they spent no time volunteering in any type of, you know, civic stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, you gotta do that, man. You gotta do that.
That's important. They're like, so what do? Do you volunteer with PEPs? Do you volunteer with the homeless? No, I don't do any of that. I just went to school. Oh, okay. Well, we'll call you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and somebody wants to talk about, I ran a marathon for the fucking kids with cancer, the St. Jude's, you know, and then they're taking them seriously. So nobody really gives us the full game as black people. They're just like, get that degree, and then you're going to get a job. But I've never really known any black person without having a master's degree in which they wound up being underemployed. They took a job that didn't require a master's degree. But I never really knew a black person that just came out with their BA and short of working for the government or Walmart or Coca-Cola or some affirmative action Fortune 500 company, they never really got into no real position. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, let me just say this, bro. You know, I try to tell people, man, you know, I got a degree in philosophy, man. So you know, I already knew that like my ambitions was not to be, you know, this stupid paid 6-figure nigga. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my goal. Was like I was in the pursuit of the truth.
Okay.
I did what I loved, and I did it under the you know, the assumption that, you know, if you do what you love, you're not really working, you're just doing what you love, you know. And so that's why it's easy for me to get on YouTube and to teach classes, you know, or to teach coursework that I taught at the university, because I actually enjoy it. I like it, you know, and I do it my way. It's not like I would change up if it was in front of a white audience, black audience, gay people, you know, whatever. I'm saying me. I'm just me. You know, if you don't like it, okay, well then, I done told many people, you don't like my style, it's always another class, another section. You can take that.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to switch up my style to make you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And my goal is to make you feel uncomfortable. Actually, my goal is to challenge every assumption that you got. But not to break you down to the point where I'm trying to destroy you, you know, but just to get you to think differently than what you thought before. And I mean, you know, conservatives, liberals, gay people, you know, whatever you are. I'm like, shit. I'm like, look, we gonna talk. We gonna get all the hard shit to discuss. We gonna discuss it here. And I'm gonna let black people talk. I'm gonna let black women talk. I'm gonna let black men talk. Whoever wants to talk, I'm gonna let them talk. But I ain't gonna let nobody dominate the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it just is what it is. So, but yeah, I care. What's going on with you, brother? How you, man?
Oh man, excellent, man. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? You got something you want to say? Because you know, you just
just a little quick story, man. And listening to that story, man. My people's man. She's a she's a college professor at a small college, right? She's a feminist, and
right.
and advocate for that. They were fighting for a more diversity hire, right? Because it's a majority white college, like all of them, right? They turned around and hired, three new people, 2 transgenders, a male and a female, and a stud, all of them white. And she had like a what the fuck moment, right? So she's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Man, you better keep your mouth shut and put your head down because it sounds like you on a chopping block." Are you losing a little bit of you're losing a little bit of strength that you thought that they had because they were getting their way about some about some things at first, but now they didn't evened out the little program. But I was just thinking about that because your story talking about how the culture of a college how it has influence on on the environment and
These
stuff
are your
like that.
professors, man. Like, look, let me say this. I always got into arguments with professors, though. I always did. So I don't have people arguing with me. In fact, I encourage it. But just be respectful when you do it. You can disagree with anything I say. You can even yell if we having like a rapport with each other. You know what I'm saying? Just don't come out the gate though yelling at me, and then we're gonna have a problem. But like if you got an opinion and you just don't agree with me and we go back and forth and back, I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that disagrees with me, I welcome to come in and say it. But just come in. Don't hide and shit.
Yeah,
Just be direct. That's all you need
yeah,
to do. I don't mind anybody disagreeing with anything I say. Just be direct. Don't come sideways. Don't come subliminal. Just come. Speak on it. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, man, like,
Hey, what
I,
one more quick thing, right quick, DD. I just wanted to. You said you went to Xavier, man. My son is a Dillard, man. So big ups to Dillard out there.
yeah, that Dilla boy. I feel you. I feel you. Hey, I done
Graduated
kicked
from
it on
Dillard.
Dilla campus. Had a few girlfriends
Yeah,
on
he was
Dilla.
talking about Yeah, he was
Yeah,
talking about Xavier and shit.
yeah. Dillard. I got some friends, good friends, man, that went to Dillard, and like I said, two black colleges, man. We spend time on each other's campuses. Xavier's supposed to be the light skinned bougie school, and Dillard's supposed to be, the real black authentic institution. But man, but they both on Dillard's on a fucking plantation, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's like a straight up plantation, man. But uh, man, good kudos to your son, man. Hopefully he's doing well there, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
No. Yeah. He's graduated. He graduated a couple years ago. But I just want to say big up because he's a big up Xavier too though. He's
yeah, I
like
big
man
up
like
Dilla,
he.
man. I big up Dilla too, bro. Like we don't have no time to be, hating on each other's institutions, man. We trying to absorb as much knowledge as we can and trying to do as best as we can. But black people like to think that education is the key. Man,
Yeah.
I wish it was. It ain't the key to the game, man. It opens up doors, but just because you're educated don't mean you're better than the next person for one, and for two, it really doesn't mean you know more than the next person because they train you in a specific area. They give you a certain canon. It doesn't mean that you're worldly, that you know anything, that you got practical wisdom, none of that. You know what I'm saying? It just means that you learn what they told you to learn. You know,
Have you ever researched the history of, I can't ever pronounce that word, so forgive me. The baccalaureate, is that the right way to say it?
that's good enough. Baccalaureate, whatever.
Yeah. So there's a history behind it. It actually comes from, I don't want to spoil it for nobody because I like people to go do their own research also, and it may be contradicted. But from what I've researched, it goes back to the chivalry codes of England, basically giving titles. I forgot, I can't think of the term, but in English culture in Great Britain, monarchs, they give out titles and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where it comes from. This is where all that degree, not degree. I mean, this is where it's really called the baccalaureate. That's where it comes from, though. I
Right.
don't know how the academic stuff got involved in it, but that's originally where the diploma or all that stuff. That's when it originally comes from. As it really equates to, the I guess one's am I saying this term correctly? Socioeconomic status in America, because that's what it's supposed to do, right? Uplift you
That's what it's
from.
supposed to.
Yeah, it's supposed to. It's supposed to. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
everybody can
supposed to,
research
man.
that.
But you got to think, man. Like, what degree are you getting? Like, first of all, like philosophy is not a practical degree. It's just is not. Man. What the fuck can you do with a philosophy degree? Really? I mean, you
Become a
can do
lawyer.
something with it because it teaches you a whole bunch of skills, critical thinking skills. Like people who go to, who graduate from programs in philosophy do very well in law school.
Yeah,
You
law
know,
school. Yeah,
and they do very well on the LSAT.
yeah.
But you know, I should have been an attorney. I could have easily been an attorney, man. You know,
You would. I can see you being like that cat who's getting the brothers that is really innocent off all the time. You
man, I
know,
could try.
I
You know,
can see
I
you
could
like that.
try. You know, but I have friends, man, that are attorneys, and you
Mm.
know, they doing like I got one friend, man. That motherfucker make about 400, 500 G's a year.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like just killing the game. You know, and but you know, I took the road less traveled, man. Some bullshit for real. But you know, like the people on the lowest end of the totem pole, man, in the humanities are philosophers for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, historians get paid more, sociologists get paid more, you know, even English professors get paid more. But you know, it's still a good life nonetheless. You know, it is what it is. But you know, baccalaureate. You know, bachelor's. You know, it's also supposed to have something to do with a root of a berry. You know, like
Yeah,
know what I'm saying, the laurel berry, and they playing the words, you know, baccalaureate, you know, like, you know,
yeah,
it's double entendre bullshit, you know.
yeah.
But you know, you know, I don't really know the origin of that. I think I need to look that up though. You got me inquisitive because
Yeah, yeah, check it out. It's really interesting. That's why I don't want to spoil it for nobody. I want y'all to go and because my perspective on it's going to be different. You know what I mean? And the
right,
only way for me to learn if my perspective is correct is to bounce it off for somebody else. And I really been trying to do that because you know sometimes you can look into things and you be like, damn, it sound cool, but is this really fucking like sci-fi? Or is this like, is it really that simple? Is it really what this really was?
right,
You
right.
know, because it just seems like that. But then it might really be. But you know how they like to hide stuff from black people by putting it in a book. You know,
Shit,
so
that's our fault, man. Shit, you know, black people we've been able to read since fucking Frederick Douglass and shit. So, you know, if we don't read, that's on us, man. They got all these damn public libraries out there too, man. Free books, you
Yep.
know. But you know, I get, you know, I can't admit. I just have to be honest. I can admit that, you know, it's a taste, man. Like if your parents don't read, you probably won't read. You know what I'm saying? So, I hear you,
yeah.
Bois 76. I hear a fellow philosopher right there, and he's
Hey,
exactly.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's exactly right, man. In relation to what he said earlier, philosophy majors do a lot of consulting work for Fortune 500 companies. That's true. Um,
Good money in consulting.
that's true. Look, all I say is this, man. You know, we can't wait for people to teach us to learn. Like learning is something you got to do for yourself, man. You know, and the same shit that people at Harvard know, you can know it if because it's in a book. You
Goodwill
know,
Hunting. Goodwill Hunting. Have you seen Goodwill Hunting?
yeah, I've seen Goodwill
Yep.
Hunting.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's all about. That's what he proves in the movie.
But you know, like you know, some people are more gifted than others intellectually. Which is like some people can shoot a basketball better, or some people
Mm-hmm.
can run faster. Some people just have a better acuity of mind. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not one of them people, man. You know, it's hard for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I love it though. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that keeps me going. But you know, if your parents don't read, you
Mm-hmm.
probably won't read. You know, like my
Yeah.
mom, she read.
You have to introduce that to. You have to introduce that to them, man, because reading is you have to introduce it to your kids because they just won't naturally read. They'll get that rush from some other place, say the TV or hanging out or something like that, playing basketball. But you have to introduce saying, and you might not even enjoy it, but you need to introduce that into and especially our young boys, man. Like, got to put a book in their hand.
Man, look, all I know is when I was a kid coming through grade school, they had these little sheets that they would pass out, and you know they were books, and you would fill out what books you want, and you know, man, I mean, all the kids in my grade school, man, were readers, all of us. You know what I'm saying? So we all got these books, and you know, we traded the books with each other, and you know, some of us, you know. Stole each other's books and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we all I mean, it was just all black kids too, man. Like we went to the same grade school and shit. So it was a Catholic grade school, but we all read, man. Like we wasn't all rich either. None of us were rich actually, but we all just we were like our parents read, man.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And so, I remember my OG, man. My father reads like a motherfucker. My father's so dope, man. His man, you go in his basement, man, his books from wall to wall, man. I mean, like damn near 50 feet of books. You know what I'm saying? And he turned me on when I was like in high school. Like, look, here's Marcus Garvey. Read that shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Here it is. Read that shit. And he'll wake up on a Saturday morning and be playing Farrakhan.
Yes.
In Chicago, North Side, baby. I mean, not South Side, 89 Drive. He blasting Farrakhan, and then he was a mover and shaker too. So he, bumping, arms around with, guys that hold rap sessions and shit like that. So he was hitting me up early, man. He was reading Thomas Sowell, reading, going over to Bobby Rush. You know what I'm saying? He cool with him, so he hollering at him, just taking me everywhere around Chicago.
You know what I learned? You know what I learned when I read Marcus Garvey, right? So I told you my dad was in the Vietnam War and stuff, but he was just like one of those guys that was trying to survive. But like he had fed into that indoctrination of communism, and that's how he raised me, right? But when I turned 14, I went to the library, my public library. I ain't gonna lie, my parents had a library, but I wasn't much of a reader. I didn't start reading until my mom's came home one night with a bunch of Donald Goins books. I couldn't put it down. And that's what got me. Donald Goins got me interested in reading. I just couldn't put it down. And from him, I branched off into Souls of Black Folk, Marcus Garvey, Booker T. But anyway, the point about Marcus Garvey was when I was reading Marcus Garvey, now my father, he's a patriot. He's retired Air Force. He like real Air Force. Like I can't even talk this shit to him because he go crazy on me. Like, But when I was reading Marcus Garvey, and what is it? Is it a bib? Which one is the one that someone writes about a person? It's a bibliography or autobiography? But
man, I can't remember. Man.
Whatever it was, they was talking about how Ho Chi Minh, when Ho Chi Minh was a teenager, right before he becomes the leader of Vietnam, when he was a teenager, he came to America. And he went to Marcus Garvey's speeches all the time. They talk about how Marcus Garvey influenced him. So when he goes back to Vietnam and he does that whole, the whole turmoil and all that structuring, it's based off of Garvinism. His whole wanting to defeat the what he called the imperialist is rooted in his learning of Garvinism. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, we got some great people. We got some influences, man.
Yeah, many people don't know that. Yeah.
What's up, EM, man? What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Can you hear me here?
Oh shit! I hear you.
Yeah, I put your ass on the spot. Good with you, man.
Shit, man, my sound been in and out, man. I've been having troubles with this. See, I'm in Atlanta, man. And they be fucking with the internet over here, bro. On the real.
I hear
your
you.
State is on the list. Your state is on the list.
Please, man. I just had to hop in. I heard somebody mention Garvey. Yeah. Let me just cut off my bad. Yo.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, we hear you, bro.
Yeah, my bad. I just heard the man talking about Garvey and how he influenced Ho Chi Minh and how he is influenced by Garveyism, and that's funny because I was posting about Garvey. I was posting about Du Bois' letter to Garvey today, and what Garvey was really the type of vibes that he was really actually on, and what he was really about when it came to black people in the United States that weren't part of his specific group and weren't on what he was on, and who he worked with and who he talked to and what he was saying. Like what he was actually on. Have you seen Du Bois' letter to Garvey before?
Yeah, I read it, but I mean, you got to understand you're dealing with two different cultures. I don't want to get into the whole how you say us against them thing, but right. At that time, that's what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with two different cultures. You're dealing with two different classes. Some people would say Garvey came from a higher class than Du Bois, and some people would say Du Bois came from a higher class than Garvey. but that depends on, I say, who is in whose country. So if the Bois goes to Garvey's country, he's basically just like an American Negro, right?
Actually, nah, he wouldn't. He really wouldn't be, because the color line in the Caribbean was actually a real thing, so he would automatically.
Let me finish. I know about the color thing. I'm not talking about
but
that.
I mean, even with that mattered so much there. It wasn't like the United States where you can find a homeless light-skinned person at any part of history. Like from
that's true.
In Jamaica, that's not a thing.
I know,
like,
but what I'm referring to is that that the outer colonies, and again, I don't want to start this because see, this is how it starts. The outer colonies, right? Because they kind of had the independence before American descendants of slavery. They considered themselves of a different status.
Wasn't Jamaica wasn't independent until 1965, bro.
But I'm talking about independence of Jamaica. I'm talking about the agency of an individual, right? So
you mean you're talking about the people that
were all slaves,
that look like me was running the people that look. That's what I'm saying. That's not really independence though. That's light-skinned niggas.
I mean, again, like I said, I don't want to start that because we're going to derail what the whole panel is about.
Not a derailment, but I mean, we talking like, because you said Ho Chi Minh, right? And he went over there, and for some people would call him a liberator in a way. You know what I mean?
Ho Chi Minh?
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh would be considered a liberator to some, and to some he would be considered a massacre dude because he tore, you know what I mean? He tore ass. He went in and he tore ass. I don't think
he's a massacre dude at all.
Yeah, he went in and got the French people out of there, but he also brought Russian shit and Russian mentality and Chinese mentality there. So that's not indigenous Vietnamese.
That's true. That's true. But you got to understand who you're fighting. But you got to understand who he's fighting, right?
Yeah, the French who influenced the whole communist theory of thought in the first place.
Yeah. So you got to understand that. So it's really like, it's like, if you want to talk about that, we could go back to something more recent, right? We could go back to what's his name? Patrice Lumumba in the Congo, where he decided to side with the Russians, right? And how did America take that, right? So, but America and Belgium were really offering him a worse deal, right? So that's what it is. It's basically you have these leaders of nations. They're going to take the best deal, and that deal is, again, like I said, independent agency. So as you see, it all rolls back to the different types of slavery, right? So it's all the same slavery, but can
I interject here, man? Look, the Bois. I'm gonna just be honest here. Man, the Bois and Garvey was on some nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it, man. And even Du Bois and Booker T. Washington was on some nigga shit. If you look at it, man, look. These people, man, want to do, like, I blame them both for ideology, okay? And I'm a pragmatist, man. And I use ideals, and sometimes, I profess ideals and subscribe to ideals. But at the end of the day, man, like, black people, man, need to understand we don't have to be a monolith to move, man.
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to be in complete agreement with one form of ideology or another. All we got to do is just say, hey, look, you are part of the tribe. Not necessarily because I agree with everything you saying and everything you doing, but like, even in, like, just let me just use, it's just an analogy. It's not anything to be looked upon as literal, okay? You got 12 tribes of fucking Israel, man. You understand what I'm saying? There's 12 of them, different ones, different backgrounds, different ideals, different lineages, different social practices, the whole nine. Okay, but they found a way to form a nation out of those tribes. The same shit these white folks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my bad for interrupting, because I was just gonna say, because them Ashkenazis, they fell under one group. There was a leadership group within that was like, the rest of y'all nigga Jews is gonna listen to what we say.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
And the Arab boys was in the middle, like, okay, we gonna be the light skinned niggas. We're gonna be the light-skinned nigga Jews, and then we got the dark skins, we got the Habashas, and they're gonna be the actual niggas.
And so that's my point. And so that's the point I was making about.
They had a hierarchy, though.
Yeah, I know, but I shouldn't say that because that was really where you were going with it. But I was gonna get there eventually. That's the point that I'm making between the Bois and Garvey. But in respect to Gigi's panel, yeah, they're all on some nigga shit. But I'm talking about how you're perceived, right? At the end of the day, the environment that you come into is how you perceive. So you have a Jamaican coming into America telling the black man, uplift, uplift. And then you have this little Vietnamese dude like, yo, what's that about? Uplift, what's going on, right? So he's taking in all this game that his people don't even learn until, 1958? You know, the Vietnamese don't even learn about this game until, I think, Ho Chi Minh comes around power in 58 or something like that. So you got Garvey talking all this stuff, and we're influencing some people that are underneath the European imperialist thumb, right? And so Garvey's from Jamaica, but he's not an American descendant of slaves. And I don't want to, again, disparage, his accomplishments, but that's what happened. What I was just saying was that I think people hold one person in a higher esteem because of their, for lack of a better term, their allegiance to a country that enslaved them. That would be the Bois. And then they say somebody like,
the thing is just strictly, it's just the taxes. That's all. At the time, the environment, you can say, like, to G's point, they both on some nigger shit, but that's the environment they were living in at the time, man. They were both fighting for an agency. The only reason why, put up, what I do like about Du Bois is the fact that he's one person, since he wrote so much and such a young age, you can see such a trend. He changes all the time, right? He changes all the time. But initially, you can look at him as being the constant protagonist in the black movement, because it was, if it wasn't him, Booker T, him, Garvey, those, he has issues from pro-black standpoint, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was integrationist. He wanted, things like, man, look, we just, as Gigi puts it, what do you say? Respectability politics. Buckle down, straighten up, man. So we could be all right. We have to show them that we can outwhite the white man. Garvey's just like, man, look, it ain't working in Jamaica. It ain't working in the United States. Let's get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and
but
he's a major problem.
On some weird shit. He's like, this Ku Klux Klan is gonna make this a white man's country. Then he was going to them and like, oh man,
well,
I got y'all. I'm gonna convince them to leave. I got y'all. Give me some money.
So Garvey comes in for the point of, he says what black people needed was some form, unifying form of culture, right?
Yes,
we lost our culture.
There you go.
So that's what he tried to implement. And at the time, all of them done the best they could at the time they can. We have the benefits of being able to learn from each one of them now,
right?
And then add a critique and improve it, which brings us back to Gigi's point that we can now say, like, man, look, okay, you can be this, you can be that. We're all a part of the same tribe. We can move forward. We can take the best parts of all of them and move accordingly.
Yes.
And to add to that before I forget, I'm sorry, Gigi. And to add to that before I forget, where is the Bois buried at? I want to, make a tornado. Where's the Bois buried at?
He's buried in Africa, where Garvey
never
been to in his life.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry,
Garvey
Gigi.
never been to in his life.
But I know, but see, okay, so look, the way I look at it, man, they both were right, but they both had an ideology that made them want to be the HNIC. See, that's
the problem,
folks, man.
But why couldn't he want to HNIC where he was from, though? Ooh,
but I'm just saying, but
you ain't rocking on your own block. I'm not gonna let you come to mine, G. Like, you gotta get some respect in your area before you can come rock with me, man.
So then you haven't read Garvey, because if you read Garvey, he was doing well for someone in his in his country. He was doing very well.
Not banging with him like that.
But I'm just saying, though, he was doing very well compared to his complexion in that era of Jamaican colonialism. He was like Jay-Z. I mean, a bad analogy, but he was doing super duper well.
Yeah,
that's how he gets to America. That's
Off
how
the
we get
cap.
to America.
Off
You
of
know,
cap.
they're trying to was hardcore ADOS. So you know,
Yeah, I know. I see
you
that.
know,
I see that.
we
I see that.
hardcore.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about him. I love that about him. But I'm just saying that the point to make the statement that you can't see. I don't want to bring up somebody because it's not right to do it. But in what's going on right now in the world, we had someone who went out there on the porch, right, and was like, "Yo, I'm about to get all the guns together." You probably know who I'm talking about. And they all up in the video. They all up on the YouTube, right? And the folks clamped them. See, we got to get out of that charisma thing where we all trying to run. We trying to have the black king. We all got to be the black king. You Megatron Mater, JG Black to the film, Iron Graves, I Care.
Down.
We all 30 million of us black people, if that's how many they are, we all the kings, right? That's how we gotta be. Because the way that we going right now, we just keep doing the same thing with that singular person. Because you know, I believe in commonalities. That's how I succeed, right? Even though we
But that's what I was gonna add on to was that there was an error, which was a popular, which we had leadership. That was the thing, was leaders. People was looking for a leader, and that pretty much ended with Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. It's like ever since then we had these, you know, so-called leaders and stuff like that, but majority of now it's about, like you said, people being their own kings in their own right, having a movement amongst themselves. You can put yourself into nearly full of puts in, you know, saying anyway, like, you know, saying certain things shouldn't even be discussed. But
true. But I mean, you know, the only point I'm trying to speak to is, look, at one time, you know, you had white guys who were the big chief. You know, you had the king, the autocrat. They understood that at some point, all this charismatic bullshit associated with kinghood and autocracy is not going to be the way to move forward. They got philosophers who studied this shit, man, who put it out there. I told you about Hegel the other day, man, and I tried to connect him to Marx. Like that, their idea is institutions. That's what they run on, man. That's what they live by. Institutions. They not worried about individuals. They think the institution is the thing that's going to be actually, you know, carrying forth the agency. So the problem, though, is, you know, black people have tried to integrate into these institutions. To this day, we're still trying to integrate into these institutions and have an impact on these institutions instead of building our own institutions. We don't have any institutions, man. But we do got institutions. It's called Magic City.
Word.
The
We got,
blade.
what's the name of that shit? What? Hollies, goddamn me. What's the name of that shit?
The office.
Strokes and shit. You know, we got
you don't know.
So we see, the institutions are what carry the movement forward. You know what I'm saying? So if the individual dies, the institution still exists. Now, we did have institutions, but they were civil rights-based institutions. But see, the one thing about institutions that's bad is that once they are established and they got principles that they abide by, it's hard to change the principles of the institutions. And that's when new ones have to come up and have to form. But right now, man, black folks, man, is on some shit. I'm about to get mine. I'm gonna get me mine. Fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that it's how we think. But Sergeant Wild, man, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't get you in the first time, bro. How you, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Hey, can everybody hear me?
What up, boy?
Can anybody hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Grace.
The sound is fucked up. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Nah, you know what? And my take on this whole thing, man. There's a book called All God's Dangers, man. My take on this, man. Manhood is the most important aspect of this thing that we never talk about. I think that we can talk about institution, and I think the greatest institution is manhood. And I think if we talk about institutions without focusing on manhood, I think we miss the point. Because the only time charisma and all these other things can become a danger is when you have a lack of manhood. Because men are going to check men regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. So when we focus on this intellectual idea of revolution. You know, even now we go back talking about books and talking about that, but we don't have men. It's a moot point. You know what I'm saying? There's no point in debating all this, and you don't have no men. You know what I'm saying? To stand for whatever for the principles that we're trying to espouse. And I think that's where we're missing the point in all this. And I think to the degree that that we don't have institutions, there's no reason to have an institution if you don't have manhood, because if you don't have men to support it.
Well, let me just say this.
What you gonna do?
Well, Ian, this is how.
That's a social institution.
Wait, hold on. Look, let me explain it to y'all like this. It's just where Ian go? That motherfucker just ducked out. How you gonna duck out when I'm rapping to you?
I think it was an accident. I think
he might have got knocked off.
Yeah,
but here's my view on it, right? Like manhood isn't developed in a vacuum. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna have manhood, you gotta have people to teach you manhood. There you go again. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna add them back. So you know, like there used to be rituals that you had to go through in order to become a man. You just weren't made into a man through your own agency, and because you have a set of values, you have to be into manhood by going through ordeals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in and of itself, to be brought into manhood is to actually go through rituals. So okay, so take for example, you know, you're on the African savannah and you're a Zulu and you're gonna be made into a warrior. You gotta go through the rites of passage. Ain't no fucking men that ain't going through the rites of passage. You feel me? Or even if you're a Native American, you know what I'm saying, and you're a member of whatever tribe, the Iowas or the Creeks or you know, the Iroquois, whatever the case may be, in order to become a warrior, you have to go through rites of passage or go through institutions in order to become that person, that man. But see, right now, we trying to figure it out through what? Actually, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you what a man is in America for the average man. Okay? The average, to be a man in America, the average, it's all based on consumerism. How much shit can you buy?
Yeah.
That's what manhood is predicated on.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a history of it. It's called dandyism. Look that shit up. Dandyism.
Wow. Yeah, dandy, yep.
You know, it's crazy. I heard this young dude dissing somebody else.
Dr. Curry brought it up. He said, man not.
Yeah, but you see,
$1,000 and prove to me that you're a man. That's what dude said. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like I'm a man because I can buy this. You know what I'm saying? Because I you know, I can demonstrate that I got I can buy some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not what manhood actually is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the end of the day, you know, I don't have all the answers. I'm one man. You know what I'm saying? And then some men don't like the man that I am. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? All I'm trying to do is not. If you got one chief, you can kill the chief and then everything dies.
Yeah.
But if you got a confederation of men and they all have the same capacities and qualities, you know what I'm saying? And they all are dedicated toward not exactly the same goal, but at least they have, you know, a desire to see the embetterment or the empowerment of the entire group. Then that's the type of men you're looking for. You know.
And see, going back to and you did a good example of that when you did the video about the Gigi. You did a good example of that when you did the video about showing how the Sisters of the Confederacy and all those elements were recognizing the men who lost the cause, right? Yeah. That's what I think. I mean, I'm not trying to give my thing on anybody, but I'm just saying I think our problem as black men is that we are fearful of taking an L and not being recognized as victors, even if we take an L, right? So nobody wants to do anything, and that's where we at. We gotta do something. Like, we can't worry about it succeeding. That's not what they thought about in the Confederacy. They took the L, and then the Sisters of the Confederacy recognized them. And then, why does the Confederacy still exist? We just had the Confederate flag in the Capitol yesterday. Why do you think that still exists? Further than you can't even get black people right now to walk on a college campus with RBG gear on, or talking any Garvinism or any type of Malcolm Xism or anything, right? But you can get a cat with a losing cause to carry around a goddamn flag of a defunct nation. That's Nazism. That's Confederatism. Why are they able to?
Yeah, but
Because that brings us back to Gigi's point of having manhood training classes. See, when you have a rites of passage program, that is something that is teaching you to be able to stand on your squares. Like this is what you believe in. You'll feel more comfortable and being in, whether you're the only person or not. I tell my youngins and stuff like that, man. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have to go out and have this fight that I have, right? They coming from another generation. They don't have to be as black as I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out here. It's just a fucking street fight. That's all it is. It ain't gonna make a difference, but it's gonna make a difference to me because this is my fucking square. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna take a stand right now. You have that choice right now. Right now, you don't have kids, or you going to college, or you don't have the same type of responsibilities, or you may have kids that you can't take the same stance on. My kids is grown. You know what I'm saying? If I go out here and get into a fight with some damn dude on the goddamn corner, that's my goddamn business. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about, what the babies, my little babies and stuff like that. That's just an example. What I'm saying is that you start to develop this sense of self, right? You'll have more guys that's coming in. You'll have more dudes that'll be able to walk around with red, black, and green on a college campus. You'll have that. It's because we're lacking that manhood training.
Yeah,
that's what's going to build it's an institution in itself. It's a social institution.
Yeah,
manhood, womanhood is it's an institution in itself. It's taught. Yep. It's something that is taught. We just haven't been teaching it in our culture. We don't have a culture, so we've been robbed of that. So we have to kind of like put this damn thing together. I heard Dr. T.L. Johnson say something. Well, I think he got it from BGS. He said, "Man, we're flying a plane and building at the same time."
Yeah, exactly, and it's been going like that for 100 years. That's the problem.
Yeah, but listening to you guys and stuff like that, and the engraves and stuff like that does, it does bring relief to me that, brothers are starting to get together and recognizing these things, and it's just a matter of getting together. 20 years ago, me and this dude, we was in a BS Black Student Union. We started Black Student Union together. I walked in the office looking for a Black Student Union. It was one guy there. It was my brother M. Hotep. I said, "Where's Black Student Union?" And he said, "You're looking at it. If it was only one person, now it's two people, right?" So we moved from there, built a BSU. We ran into another guy. He's like a older guy. He was a teacher at a local high school. He was like, "Man, we started a basketball program. From the basketball program, which was a mentoring program, went to a mentoring program, went to a rites of passage program, and it just kind of developed at that. More than 20 years ago, actually, shit, it was early 90s, but it's just a matter of getting together and saying and putting forth the effort. We, a lot of brothers are put such in a tight squeeze nowadays. We're thinking about trying to get the next meal and next stuff like that, but we need, it's time for us to move back towards fuck all that. We're not, you're going to be as rich as you're going to be. Let's put some of that energy back into these children and stuff like that, man. And I know the baby mamas, they going to have something to say. Hush all that. We're going to take these damn babies back and put them in boots or put them in books. One or the other.
I hear you, brother. So look, we about to close this out. We at the 2-hour mark, man. So I'm about to
I don't mean to be going off, man.
Go around the room.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, Karen, man. Megatron, man. You got something you want to say for the closeout?
Oh yeah, man. Like I heard Black to the Film talking about, and then you talking about the lost cause, and I wanted to bring something else. Another group of them people, but in Northern Ireland, they women cooperating with them too, and they're still rocking out to this day because of that, because they keep their name alive and their cause alive and their fight alive to the point of the British Army and police having to come into their spot and get cocktailed all the time because they girls ain't giving up.
Yeah, so look, this is the thing. Like manhood also hinges upon womanhood. You know what I'm saying? So That's why I did that Daughters of the Confederacy video, man, because I'm like, look, if you want to have men that are willing to die for you and to do some dynamic and some and you know some revolutionary shit, you got to instill revolutionary mindsets in those children, man. You can't.
Bro, they be picking up the K in the cocktail. Like, and they won't have babies with snitches over there. Like, if a dude snitched to the British Army, he's not giving them no box. It's over for him. Like, he's kicked out the hood and all that. I was like, I respect that. I was like,
But I
look,
mean, but I get it, brother. Black to the film. You got something you want to close out with, man?
Yeah, I just hope that everybody continues to come to your channel and help you get this documentary completed. And I just want to let the brothers know that we really need to be paying attention because they got bounties on us. So if you ain't aware, let you be aware now. They got bounties on us,
And so, I just want to say what Black Knight Fool is saying here. This is why, I think this documentary I'm trying to work on is important because what we want to do is push back against predominant narratives in the academy to basically say that Black men are ontologically evil, essentially pathological, and, somehow, we're inherently malevolent. That, like Black men suffer from the same kind of shit that other people do, man. We go through the ups and downs and trials and tribulations, psychological dysfunction, just like anybody else does in the Black community. And we're victims of all types of crimes, at the hands of women and other men, just like any other group of people are. So, we got to pay attention to the facts, man. Like these narratives and tropes about us, they have to be challenged. And now that you got an opportunity for, where there are men in these spaces who are willing to do that, man, all I'm saying is, man, give them a voice, man. You know what I'm saying? So they can begin to do this work on that level because right now you getting pumped and dumped, man, with a whole bunch of information, man. Like that little girl did that I read. She ain't a little girl, but she is young. So I mean, like this young woman, man, was proselytized to, man, and kind of like indoctrinated. She held fast to her values because she was homeschooled, and her mother was actively involved in her life. Just imagine if her mom had her like a latchkey kid and really wasn't, attuned to her development and didn't instill values within her that would last. You know what I'm saying? She would have got soaked right on up.
Wow, you just answered the question for me. I was wondering how, like, a lot of them hood girls that go to school come back with that weird feminist mixtape mentality, and now I know.
I mean, just look at that article, man. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? And like everybody gets influenced when they go, like your most impressionable years, man. You're trying to figure out your sexuality. You're trying to figure out your identity. A lot of that comes from you going to college, man, and just the people you surround yourself with, and you fellowship with. And so, not to say, look, they have their thing, man. Like they can have their thing, okay? If that's what they want to be on, fine. But damn it, you're not gonna be on that and at the same time disparage us and consider us to be the root of all evil because it's just not true. That's all I'm saying. So like they get. I know some queer people, man. Some of them cool. You know what I'm saying? Like do you? You know what I'm saying? I know some people that's gay or SGL or whatever the case may be, cool in the game. You do you. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to do you at my expense. You don't have to start spinning, rhetoric in order to make yourself better. On this plantation that we call America because you disparaging me. We are easy target. We already know we're public enemy number one. So you're gonna add fuel to the fire and lead to more death and destruction of us, justifiably so, because you done already distanced yourself and act like you one of the good Black people. Come on, man. It's crazy to me, man. We got to do better than this. And it's not about the people themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's this doctrine, this ideology. And it's all fabricated by these women, man, like these white ladies at Agnes College. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these women, I told people a long time ago, you know what I'm saying? The school I went to, man, no disrespect to the lady, man, but she was the head of the Women and Gender Studies department. My fucking husband did men's studies. You know what I'm saying? Like, they married and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this rhetoric will have you believe that you don't need a man, but they got one, even though they feminists. They want a man. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to watch what people doing, man, and stop listening to everything that they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Now, you got to fight with ideas. True. Exchanging information and ideas is good to some degree. But damn, man, like at some point, man, we gotta do more watching what people do. Less, listening to exactly what they're saying, and then understand and peep game and move accordingly, man. We can't be duped into making dummy moves because we trying to keep up with the latest in vogue idea. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't work for nobody but them, man. At the end of the day, man, we still own less than 1% of the real wealth in this country, man. We still got dysfunctional communities, man. We still getting gunned down by the police and all kind of other crazy shit. We still 2 or 3 checks away from being evicted, man. We got to do something better than what we doing because what we doing ain't working. And, look, I don't know what we got to do before it all happens, but I know one thing we need to be doing. We also need to be working on, on whatever level we can. We can't make sure everybody all good and all adjusted and shit, man. Because this right here, man, we got to work as we go, man. We got like that analogy Dr. Johnson said, man. You got to build the plane while you flying it, man. You got to build the boat while you you're in the ocean. There ain't no choice. But I did a video a long time ago, man, and I said, "What's the root of the matter?" or something like that. What's the root? Like, don't lose sight of what the root of all this is. The white man running all this shit from the top, man. You know what I'm saying? He's throwing interference wherever he can and however he can to get what the fuck he want. And like these people know what they doing, man. Even these white guys that do MGTOW and shit done figured it out. You know what I'm saying? These women come in, man, to create this division and all this shit because if they can police men, then the men at the top don't have to worry about competition from other men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just it's bottom line. So if they can control, men through the agency of women, then and keep them all fucking flustered and non-focused, then these men won't ever be able to raise a challenge to them. And it's happening within their own, their own clan. So you know what's happening with us? They telling you what the game is. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, man, y'all be peaceful. Have a pleasant evening. This is where black men can straight up say what they want to say and speak how they want to speak. And I hope it wasn't too offensive to you. We just reasoning and building with each other. That's all. So
that's what we doing.
so y'all be peaceful, man. I'm gonna come tomorrow, man. I'm gonna do a video, but it's gonna be more academic. But I want to talk about this philosopher by the name of John Rawls. And the reason I want to talk about him is because you really you don't understand what these white people are saying and what their orientation is on the left without having some understanding of this guy. Like most of the philosophy about politics or the thinking about politics is rooted in this man's thought. So I'm gonna give it to you so you can kind of understand where these people coming from. That's all. So y'all be peaceful, man. Thanks for everybody who donated and supported, man. Again, I encourage you, go to the Indiegogo page, man. Please, if you got $5, man, for the price of a breakfast sandwich, whatever the case may be, man, please support the project, man. And because I'm trying to get it done, man. But anyway, man, y'all be pleasant this evening, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow.
All right, peace, Grill.
Peace.
Peace, made the man.
Peace, Black.
Get my little outro music. Play some new music today, man. I'm tired of the same old music, man. Tired of the same old music. If I can find that joint.
I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place. I'm a winner, and I know I'll never lose, cause I'm way too ahead of you, dude. I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place. I'm a winner, and I know I'll never lose, cause I'm way too ahead of you, dude. I'm coming. Okay, here I go. Guaranteed to be the leader of the race, come in first place. Put the pedal to the metal, let it burn, then I blow up in your face for the boom of the big bass. Turn around, nigga, black face. Nigga, turn up the track, nigga, hurt with a burnt face. Fuck a nigga, cause he gon' hate. Put some pippin' in his cup, set him out for the date rate. I go, I blaze, throw grenades in the party till I'm clearing out the whole place. Who got that rock money loan? You can hear it in my tone that I own, you don't know, man. Better run, nigga, bustle like a gun. Ain't a motherfucker nigga that can hold, man. I'm tired of nigga suckin', find your bitch so she can blow, man. Ain't nobody never cheat like the young boy, many bomb boys, and he hit like a donkey. And he roll with a convoy with them hot toys. If you really wanna get it jumpin'. I blow that monkey, that hairy back grin gorilla. Take it through the nose, put it on my mind, I'm a beast like Michael Jackson Thriller. Your boys are trippin', I ain't hearing till you're speaking something. Don't do too much because your pussies always do it for me. Yeah, get it good, get it like I should. All the hate motherfuckers better keep it coming. Put them all in a barn, throw a bomb, and that motherfucker leave they body slumping. I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place. I'm a winner, and I know I'll never lose.